Hello everyone, it's very early in the morning. I've got my flask of nice hot coffee and I am off down south to pick up these tiles which we need to do for the Legends roof, which we spoke about before. It's where the two roofs don't quite line up. One's a bit higher and one's a bit lower. And as I said before, we were going to do a bit of tin work, then we were going to try and use the old tiles, the up and overs, but these are mechanical interlockers. They're a very specific type of tile. And I think it's going to be a really good job. But the most important thing is we bagged a real bargain. These guys that we got them off, they over-ordered on a job. So they're brand new, or so they're new. They've been sat about, they're over-ordered. And we're getting them at a snippet of the original price. Because that was my one big concern. I didn't want to be spending hundreds and hundreds of pounds or euros on doing a little bit of the roof in between the barn, which yes is a necessity, you're never going to see. So I was really loath to go down the route of going to the shop and buying the new tiles, but I also didn't want to bodge it with a bit of tin or something else, even though you're not going to see it. So this is going to be, it's the best outcome. So we found them on Marketplace, which is a local selling group. I've made contact and I'm going to go and get them, and I think it'll be really good. So I will see you very soon. So here we are with what we bagged this morning. Made it back. They're all safe and sound. They're at home. We didn't have any breakages. I'm just going to show you the difference between these and the traditional tile. But it's really interesting. They're a good tile. They're called a mechanical tile because they all interlock. But if I show you side by side, that is the tile. You can see it's got one ridge, it's got a flat bit and then the interlocker, and so the other tile will, if I just lay them side by side, you'll be able to see. Something like that. So you get the flat bit, the two ridges, and then it continues, but they interlock and they've got that edge there which makes them very, very stable. The old-fashioned ones, which we have here, which are fine, which I was going to try and use, you have one under, which is the curve which goes that way. So you've got the U shape, and then you've got I love these, they're really, really cool tiles. Then you've got the shape of the other tile that sits over like that. So that tile, you've got the under one and the over that I'm talking about, and that's what our house is the old-fashioned over and unders. But what's really cool about these tiles is they were made, the shape of these tiles in the old days, if you can see this, but I'll show you, it is rumoured that they were made on people's arms. So these are a bit more manufactured, they're a bit more modern. But in the old days, they're actually laid over, the clay was laid over the arms, so some of them will actually have a slight concave or a dip in the middle of the high bit. But onwards and upwards, we are there. These tiles are going to be fantastic. So I'm just going to spin you around if I can. The job tomorrow, or in the very near future, will be to get up on the roof of the Legends barn and get them in place. So there's a few bits to do. I've got the woodwork that me and Oscar, baby Oscar, and I scored. We need a few more of those struts, and then we need some battens, and then it's onwards and upwards to fixing. So let's get on with it. So we're just finishing off the evening stables, and what we're talking about on the nutritional basis from horses that have been poorly is how much they can actually get from what they're being given. but also how they can process it or how they're able to process it. So what we have here is what Grace has regurgitated or kind of spat out. She doesn't regurgitate, she spat it out. It's mashed up bits of hay, and when she was really poorly, she probably couldn't be bothered, to be honest, what she was getting, and she was so weak, she wouldn't have been able to process it. This is only a tiny bit of what she's been given. She has 95% of the pulp and all the mix that Jenny makes up for her, and she has a little bit of grass, which you've seen out in the field, which she's really good at now, but she also has a bit of hay just to keep her amused, just something for her to rummage through. But as you can see, she can't really process it. She's eating it to a degree, but there'll probably be this much of the food, and this is what's left. And that's because the horse's back teeth, the molars at the back of the mouth, they actually work side to side like that, and they crush up and smash it all up, and it goes into a paste, and then they're able to swallow it. Whereas at the moment, as we said, we've got the dentist coming for Grace and for Lottie and all the other legends, but until that time, could be just the fact that her teeth are old or she's missing a few teeth. There's nothing wrong with them, but just as you get older, that ability to finely grind it, it's a bit like one of those flour mills where the grain's there and the mill grinds it. If the stones aren't quite right, they won't be able to powder it, and that's what you're getting here. So you're seeing a little bit of, could be one thing, could be another, but more importantly, it's only a minor part of what she's doing, but it's a little bit of something interesting to share with you guys, that is part and parcel of it. So what we always said about feeding little and often is really important. One of the rules of thumb is that a horse's stomach is no bigger than a rugby ball. So about this big, or an American football, round about that big. So what you want to try and achieve is, as they evolve, they are naturally grazing animals, so they'll be out in the pastures or in the savannah, whatever. They'll be nibbling at grass, and they'll be doing that all day, and sometimes all night, depending on where they are. And it's just that little and often, just always passing through. And when we domesticate horses, when we bring them in or we put them in stables and we change that routine, there's lots of complications. Horses can't be sick, so they suffer from what's known as colic, which is probably is, to anyone that's been involved with horses, and we spoke about it lots before, it's one of the most feared things in any horse husbandry aspects. But one of the reasons for that is because we're changing their movements, and there's lots of other reasons, but primarily they're being kept stationary, whereas normally they'd be walking about and just grazing and picking at grass. But they're also being fed lots of concentrated food, which is produced. So any synthetic or mass-produced food, which is a mixture of stuff, and they're being fed that, and they're not being able to roam about and just pick along their way, that then causes problems. So what we do, and what we can do here for the legends, and what Jenny's perfectly sorted out, is knowing exactly at what times of the year what to feed them and how to make it as easy as possible. So like we say, they have more of, if you imagine porridge or that kind of gloopy mix, that's what they have. So that's really good for just keeping everything going in the right direction. So as we said, for the older horses, or for any horse, the colic issue or them not being able to be sick is a big problem, because when it goes down, it can cause all sorts of issues. And I touched on it in an earlier video, because Cantho unfortunately got a bit of deli belly or got a little bit of colic, and what happens is, where the gut, if you imagine a sausage and it's squidging along the sausage, what happens is, if you twist a sausage, you've all seen it when someone turns a sausage or makes a sausage, they twist the outer skin, if you like, and that then forms a block, and that makes two separate sausages. And that's what happens. The actual gut rotates and can restrict, so then obviously stuff can't pass along. It can unravel. It's very unlikely that will happen, and that's when you need to have an intervention of a vet. But we've been very fortunate. We've had cases where it has happened, and we've also had cases where it hasn't. But the most important thing is to keep that sausage moving. So on that, I'll leave you with that thought. But yeah, we try, and as we say, we're always just trying to keep that happy medium, just keep everything as fluid as possible for the oldies. So it's goodbye from the old horse home, and it's goodbye from me, and we will see you very soon. I'm with the lovely Lottie, and we were just discussing, Jenny and I, about her skin, because now that she's all the little critters, all those nasty things have left her, and we treated them and we shampooed them to within an inch of their life, and they're all lovely and clean. What that then means is there's another whole group of problems which can arise from that situation. And again, with the older horses, with their skin being a little bit susceptible to dryness, and then she's very susceptible to it, you can just see where before there was all the damage underneath on her skin, and now she's all clean and she's well and she's getting better. We've had to do lots of moisturising or trying to replenish that oil in the skin, because they were so dirty and so riddled with stuff that we just had to keep scrubbing and to get it out. And you know, you by doing one thing you can create another problem, but the most important thing is that now her skin feels really good now, and it's nice and supple, but it has been a little bit dry, so we've just been keeping an eye on them, and we've been doing that whole getting the moisture back into the coat, and those oils will naturally return as well. So now that she's well and she's happy and healthy, that'll all take care of itself. And as we know, the skin is one of the first major organs that displays signs of problems within the body. So it's it's very, very clear to see with a horse, when you look at the coat, you can tell very quickly what kind of state they're in. But also, as we said before, where we've clipped them, we just got underneath that first layer, and then we can really see what we're dealing with. So now she's got a few little bits of dead skin, but the other stuff's coming through lovely, and I think very, very soon she's going to have a really, really lovely coat, and I think she's going to shine like a conker. So lots to look forward to, and she's making good progress. Hello everyone, I am here with the lovely Grace. Charlotte is not very far from us, as is always the case. They are like peas and carrots, which is beautiful. They are best of friends. Little Lottie's come strong quicker than Grace, but she was always going to. She's a little bit hardy, she's a bit of a pony, she's a bit rough and ready, and she did, to be honest, she had a bit more condition on her than when the beautiful Grace came. But Grace is making real progress. She's very, very relaxed now. She's totally settled into the routine here at the Moons, loving Jenny and all the attention she gives her, or anyone gives her for that matter. She's just a really, really beautiful soul. And yes, so condition wise, what we're looking for initially, as we said before, all we were looking for was that they improved, however that was. So whether it was a little bit of food, whether, the worst thing could have been that she didn't drink or she didn't eat, or Lottie didn't, or vice versa. But they both were eating, they both were drinking. Grace found it a little bit harder with the long stuff, so with the hay and the grass and stuff. We don't know whether it's the fact that she just didn't have anything, because now she's been out in the grass, she is eating the grass, and she's managing to process the hay. Although, as we said before, Jenny does their lovely sugar beet, or their soft pulp mix, so all their feed's soaked, so it's a bit of a mash, but it's nice and it's easy for them, especially with their teeth at an older age. So she's really settled into the routine. She is picking up, and as I say, little by little, every little bit of progress is what we're looking for. So initially she had all that horrible infestation with the lice, and her coat was a bit not as good as it could be. It was bitty, and we gave her that clip, or we gave her a shave, and then it started to come through, and as it's come through, it's got a really nice sheen to it. So yeah, she's definitely getting better. Lottie's doing fine. She's getting better every day. Again, they're just more and more of their characters are coming out, and it's lovely to be able to share it with you guys and with the support and and all the kind words and everything. Just all the donations and just everyone being there for us has really helped us on what was a very difficult time, very uncertain time, completely uncharted territory. You never know what you're going to get, or more importantly, what lies ahead. But we're just taking it every step, every little, every day at a time, and just very grateful for every little bit of improvement. But it's just lovely to see how content she is and how she's starting to really form a character, and banging at the gate and throwing her bucket about, and when she sees Jenny, she's always talking to Jenny, and it's been really lovely to see. So it's just been amazing to, as always, just to see with them when you do rescue them what can happen, and also how quickly, really, and when you think of it. And that's a beautiful thing I've always thought about animals, that they don't have that human element where they question. They're just grateful. They're just so grateful for the bit of security, the bit of consistency. And once you give them that, they are completely set. They're not. There might be that little bit in the back of their mind thinking, is this going to change? Is this forever? But the most amazing thing is they never ever show it. They always, once you've got that connection, and once you form that bit of trust, it's just incredible how forgiving they are and what beautiful creatures they are. So yeah, it's been really good. Grace is, as we say, she's doing well. Little Lottie's doing well. Not going on about the weather. Yes, it's been raining, but the sun will be here, and we'll probably be going, oh, it's too hot. But at the moment, it's just been the grass is just going mad because we've had the rain, we've got the sun, we're having those showers with the sun in between. So really good for the horses, and especially for the older guys. Like we said about the whole thing about keeping them comfortable, is when it's this sort of weather, it's just perfect because they can go out, even in a little bit of rain. They can go out, they can enjoy it, and they don't get too hot and bothered. So it's perfect, and they enjoy that really lush green grass. So it's time to get on. We're just going to finish them up. Today, earlier on, I nipped off down south to get those tiles to do the Legends roof, which we spoke about. It was a real bag of bargain. Oh, someone must have arrived. So we're going to get going. We'll explain a little bit more about the roof, but that's the next job on the to-do list. In the meantime, it's lots of love from Grace and Lottie and all of us here, and we'll see you very soon.